time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Great again. Great again.
Hey guys, welcome to the American Tribune Live. I am Todd Peterson. Thanks for joining me on this Tuesday morning. I got rain last night in Minnesota, and I got to be honest, it's a good feeling because it wasn't snow. So I think we're out of winter here. I'm in a good mood this morning, even though it is dreary and overcast and cloudy and rainy and wet. It's not snow, it's not winter, it's not freezing, so life is good here in Minnesota. I hope you're having a great day as well. Doing something a little bit different today, and actually the show is always meant to be a program for Democrats. I got to be honest, there's enough conservative content out there. If you want to go find someone that agrees with you or kind of just lets you know what's going on in the world, what do I need to know about as a conservative, a Trump supporter, a Trump voter, an America First patriot, that's all fine and well. I do that on the show. I am proudly displaying my vote for Donald Trump every single episode. But we need to change minds too. And I live in Minnesota. Every single person in my life basically votes Democrat. They either vote Democrat without knowing about it. I don't think most people actually support what Democrats do. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to expose what you're voting for and what you're supporting. And I want to change your mind. I want you to feel like Donald Trump isn't the bad guy the media made him out to be. This agenda is actually incredible. You support this agenda. If I take away the name Donald Trump, you would support everything that is happening, but because you listen to CNN, you think you're getting, impartial news. Oh, I look at what Fox is saying and CNN is saying. Nope, none of that stuff. You're getting lied to by corporate media. If it's print, if it's video, whatever the case may be, you are getting lied to. You've been propagandized. The clips I have today, I want to put that to bed once and for all. The media cannot be trusted. My Dem voters, my family members, my friends, my neighbors, the people I go to church with, those in my community. At the end of the day, everything you feel about Donald Trump is because of a narrative that you've been given for the last 10 years. And nothing can show that better than the new narrative in Trump's new administration, where Elon Musk is the bad guy. Have you noticed how, yes, you're still like orange man bad, but not really. Yeah, you're saying, oh, Trump this, Trump that. That's because you've already had the seed planted, very inception of them. You're awake, you're sleeping, Trump bad. But Elon Musk is the new boogeyman. And the narratives are that he's the co-president. Sometimes they just come out and say he's the president. They say that he wasn't elected, so why does he have this position of power? He's an immigrant. I got a couple clips of them calling out for being an immigrant. The irony is so thick on this one. Oh, this is the first immigrant the Dems have ever hated. And don't you ask yourself why? Why is it that Elon Musk, because he's an immigrant, this is a bad thing? Folks, this is the new brainwashing, new propaganda, new narrative. They are focusing on Elon Musk because it didn't stick with Donald Trump. Trump won everything in November. He got the House, he got the Senate, he got the swing states, he got the popular vote, because Americans, by and large, are done with the lies from the media, from the hyperventilating from these establishment politicians. Yes, and rhinos included in that, especially Dems, every Dem. I'm going to show you some votes today from Democrats in my own backyard in Minnesota, show you some Dem votes in the Senate in Washington, D.C. Democrats are absolutely insane, and I want to get this point across. Doesn't mean that America First is perfect. Doesn't mean that Donald Trump doesn't have flaws. We're not talking about that. We're not defending him to the last nth degree. There are plenty of flaws, but the major problems in this country come entirely from Democrats in the establishment at this point, and I want to change minds. I need my family members and friends to listen to this podcast, and I admit I am making this particular episode. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to do any name calling. I'm just going to lay out the facts, and I want to say you're wrong about this. And I can say you're wrong. I can put it bluntly. It doesn't mean I don't like you. Doesn't mean we can't be family members, friends, gather at things. We don't have to talk politics when we get together. But I do need to make the case that your vote is actively hurting you. It's hurting me. It's hurting this country. It is hurting my kids. I have 2 young girls in my family, and I watch Democrats vote against them. I'm watching every single Democrat in Minnesota at the federal level support this insane transgender movement. Still in 2025, we're still pretending that men can be women, women can be men. These drugs don't impair the lives of children for the rest of their lives, make them complete patients for the pharmaceutical industry, paying over the course of a lifetime probably millions of dollars. We have to stop pretending that this is a thing. There are sports, there are bathrooms for all kids and for all people, and they've always been that way. We've always had girl restrooms, girl locker rooms, boy locker rooms, girl sports, boy sports. Nobody is getting excluded in this. You don't need to break every rule in history and society, all rules of decency, all morality, just to make yourself feel good and say, I'm inclusive. I'm recognizing the existence of a trans person. Folks, no one is denying the existence of human beings. I see you. I don't care that you're telling me you're a boy. You are not a boy. I don't care that you're telling me you're a girl. You're not a girl. If you were born with a penis, you are a boy. If you were born with a vagina, you are a girl. And you have an entire avenue to go down. You can go to a locker room, go to a bathroom, go to a sporting event. Nothing changes. But it is insanity what we are seeing with these votes, where every single Democrat is bending over backwards, lying to themselves, lying to you, promoting evil by saying, I just want to be a good person and let this girl pretend she's a boy or boy pretend she's a girl and compete in the sport that they think is right for them. It's absolute insanity. And you got to say it bluntly. You are wrong on this issue. Democrats are evil on this issue for promoting it at the political elite level. But you, as just a regular American, a regular Democrat voter, this is insane. I've got to change your mind on this. And then, of course, when we talk about immigration, we can apparently say now that immigrants should go home. That's what Democrats are saying about Elon Musk. So that doesn't work out either. Everything you're led to believe, it suddenly flips on its head and you're told to believe something else just because Orange Man bad or Elon Musk is bad. He wasn't elected. This just in, presidents have always appointed people in their administration. Cabinet level, they make appointments. Nobody voted for Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, but no one's crying about that. That's because we elect a president who is allowed to make all of these appointments. I didn't vote for a White House chief of staff. I didn't vote for lawyers of the DOJ, but I voted for Donald Trump, and he's allowed to do that. This entire narrative that Elon Musk is co-president, we didn't elect him to do this. Yeah, we did. We elected Donald Trump to do all of this. I don't understand what the disconnect is or why Democrat voters, why you, my family members and friends, can't understand that. We elected Donald Trump, who then is allowed to make appointments, and I elected Donald Trump specifically to appoint Elon Musk. After what he did over at X when he bought Twitter, cleaned house, fired everybody, the platform is better than it's ever been. We wanted that at the federal level. And again, if you're opposed to what Trump and Elon Musk are doing, are you saying that you like government waste, fraud, abuse, corruption, grifting, money laundering? Are you okay with that? You like that? You like going to work 40 hours a week? You like watching a 30-year paycheck disappear instantaneously, and you don't know how much money is gone because they just withhold it right away. So you just get used to whatever money is left over in the bank. But if you had to write one massive check in April, like I do as a business owner, and you're saying that you're okay with writing a check for $20,000 and you want it to go into the pockets of these Dem politicians or these corrupt NGOs, what? No, you're not okay with that. Why are you mad at Donald Trump and Elon Musk for exposing it? How are you not livid that this is taking place? We should all be supportive of what Donald Trump is doing. And that's going to be the show today. Everything I show you, every clip I play for you, the conclusion has to be, and it should be, Donald Trump is doing the right thing right now. And again, set aside your personal feelings. I don't care how you personally feel about Donald Trump. I would posit that you feel that way because of mainstream media narratives, corporate media narratives, corrupt politicians making you feel that way. But set that aside. I don't even care how you feel about him. Focus on the policy. Because at the end of the day, Donald Trump is bringing peace to Ukraine and Russia. He'll bring peace to the Middle East. He's closing our border. He's deporting violent, illegal criminals. He is recognizing the existence of just men and women. This is a good thing. Protecting women. Remember all these decades, Republicans hate women. Who hates women now when you're voting for transgender inclusion, allowing dudes to go change in front of young girls, to compete and steal spots in sports, even just to pretend that you can do that in general? Democrats hate women. I wrote on X, I don't know how a single woman can vote for Democrats after what we have just witnessed. They hate you. They're telling you that. They don't care about you. They would rather pander to a small, and everyone's like, it's 1%, it's 0.5%. I don't even care what the percent is. Whatever the percent is, it's insignificant and it's not relevant. We have 50% of this country made up of women, and they are all getting thrown under the bus for some evil political agenda. We should all be opposed to that. So we'll make that case today. And again, my Dem voter friends, I'm just going to be honest. You are wrong about your vote. You are wrong to support the Democrat Party. I'm going to make my case today. Let me know if I'm wrong. If we get together at a gathering next time, bring it up. Say, Todd, I listened to your podcast. I would love to talk more about that. That is the point here. I don't have all day to go through this stuff. I'm going to make my case. I'm going to show you what you voted for. I'm going to tell you why it's wrong. And I'd love to have these conversations in person. I'm not mean about it. If you listen to their shows, I get a little fired up. Not going to do that today because I just want to make the factual case for why you are wrong voting Democrat and see how we can both make this country great again. The MAGA tent is big enough for everybody. And if you want to say America First movement, you want to say MAGA, if you want to take Donald Trump's name out of that altogether, because in 4 years, Donald Trump will not be the commander in chief anymore, but the movement that he created is still going strong. I want you in this movement with me. I want to save this country. I want to restore sanity. I want to bring back morality. I don't want to play along with the transgender nonsense anymore. I don't want to vote to send my kids, your kids, any kid to another country to die on some needless battlefield. I want to make our country strong. I want our borders safe. I want our economy to be robust. Donald Trump is doing all of that. So let's make the case today here. Let's start with some clips. I actually just have some screenshots, and we're on the Rumble studio. Love Rumble. Rumble's been very good to our business here. We post all of our videos on Rumble. I do like 10 commentary videos every single day on our main channel, the American Tribune. You're watching the podcast on the American Tribune Live channel. It's a separate channel. I just wanted to clean up my podcast for my daily commentary that I do. But head over to the American Tribune channel. Head over to theamericantribune.com, and you'll see daily news stories every single day. The thing that prompted this show here, I'll just be honest here, my wife shared the website that we run, theamericantribune.com, shared the Rumble channel, the American Tribune, where I have commentary for videos that we post in the articles at theamericantribune.com. And one of her aunts said, this is a little too radical for me. And I'm over here thinking, like, we have to sanitize this. We rely on Google ads. Big tech doesn't like us for the most part. We don't know what the Facebook rules are. So everything's pretty sanitary, pretty clean, not outrageous, not radical by any stretch of the imagination. But this was too radical for my wife's aunt. And I said, I really got to set the record straight. She was willing to look at the website, and I really hope that she's going to listen to this podcast. Nothing I say is radical today. Do you know what is radical? Supporting the grooming of young kids into this transgender cult, telling little white boys that they're oppressors and they're responsible for the sins of their forefathers, promoting war overseas. England's about to send the last of its white population to die in Ukraine and be completely taken over by its Muslim population. That's radical. That's radical. Supporting violent illegals to remain in this country. Venezuela didn't want them in their prison system. They sent them to America, and it's radical to want to send them back. It's completely upside down. It is completely upside down. And here are some, I'm just going to narrate the screenshots that I got in front of me because I don't know how to share screens in Rumble Studio yet. Going back to, I love Rumble. I'm on Rumble Studio. Don't know how to operate it fully. It's not as great as some of the other third-party hosting services that we've used in the past. But here is a vote. It's 51 to 45. Not a single Democrat voted in favor of. This was called the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Bill. The fact that we even have to have legislation like this, what does that tell you about our culture and society right now? They had to actually introduce legislation to just codify into law the fact that if you're a boy, you do boy stuff over here. And if you're a girl, you do girl stuff over here. We had to talk about this, vote on this. Not a single Democrat voted to protect women, to preserve women's sports. And like, I'm old enough to remember, I have very left-leaning family members of my own, older aunts now, the boomer generation. They were fighting for this. They fought for Title IX 50 years ago. They said, I just want to have the same thing that these boys do. My aunt is old enough that she wasn't allowed to play sports in school, would have been great at it. She had to be a cheerleader because that's all they offered girls in the 50s and 60s. So here she was pushing for Title IX. Women got it. And fast forward 50 years, these same women are now voting to destroy Title IX, the very thing they fought so hard for and deserved, rightfully so. I'm not big on Title IX. That's a separate conversation, but I am big on fairness in this stuff. All right, we're going to fund boys' sports. Let's fund girls' sports. I have no problem with that. But now every single Democrat voted against the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports bill. And they're going to give you poll numbers like 80% of the country. I don't care what the poll numbers say. I don't like any of the polls. The fact remains 100% of people should be supportive of this bill. We shouldn't want boys and girls sports. It's that simple. But your party, my Democrat voting family members and friends, your party, the people you voted for in Minnesota, it's Senator Amy Klobuchar, it's Senator Tina Smith, they voted against this bill. They're women. They have daughters. They don't care. They would rather bend over to appease the LGBTQ mafia. Now, Will they lose elections over this? They should. They absolutely should. Will they? I don't know. Maybe more people need to listen to this podcast. And so I'm going to zoom in now on Minnesota. At the same time, this other bill was taking place in the U.S. Senate, protecting women's sports and locker rooms. I mean, oh man, imagine the radicalism there. Republicans are so radical. I'm going to use my wife's aunt as a proxy for this entire conversation today. She thinks we're radical, and her people just voted against preserving women's sports and locker rooms and bathrooms. Like, think about that. In Minnesota, I'm going to read a tweet from Riley Gaines. She said, it's not just federally elected Democrats who hate women. It's proving to be virtually all elected Democrats at all levels. Here's proof from tonight's vote in Minnesota, where all 66 House Dems voted no on the Preserving Girls Sports Act. So at the federal level, Republicans introduced this bill. At the state level in Minnesota, Republicans introduced a bill. And in both cases, every single Democrat voted against it. Every single Democrat. Weak men, just insane women. You're a woman and you're voting against this? What? But Democrats should lose elections moving forward. How does a single woman support the Democrat Party? You're voting to erase yourself. You fought for so long to get your own thing, and now you're inviting men back into those spaces. Make that make sense. Like, folks, make that make sense. And again, if you want to talk to me in person, let's have this person. Again, I'm making the show specifically today for my family members. My wife is always like, you need to make some content that they can listen to, change their mind. So we are doing that today. And again, I'm doing this because my wife's aunt thought the American Tribune was too radical. And I'm making the case that, no, this is just normal. Like, if they use the words radical to describe what was normal 50 years ago, and your party voted to allow boys into locker rooms, boys into sports, men into locker rooms, men into sports, stealing spots from women, stealing scholarships from women. And the fact that you believe a man can become a woman and you're going to call me radical, no, you're just wrong. If you are voting Democrat and you believe this, you are wrong. You are harming kids. I can't stress this enough, too. I have 2 young girls. They will never tell me they're a boy. And if they did, you know what I would respond to them? You are a girl. And then I would walk away. That's it. You are a girl. That's it. I don't care what society is telling you. I don't care what you think or feel. You are a girl. Let's embrace your femininity. I will help you become the best girl and best woman possible. That is my job as a father. But I'm not going to delude them into thinking like, oh, this is actually a thing. But guess what? In the state of Minnesota, thanks to all of the Democrat voters, Tim Walz and his crew could come to my house, knock on the door, and take my kids away from me if I don't, quote, affirm their trans identity. So all my Democrat voting family members and friends, just understand that right now you support a party that would rip my children from me in the state of Minnesota. They would take them out of my house because it's not a supposedly safe environment because I don't affirm their insanity. Just let that sink in. You are voting against me and my family in a very real way. So that's insane. Democrats voted against women. Had to lead with that story. And again, I'm the radical one. Just no on that one. Just no on that. All right, the other big thing that was happening, Trump met with Zelensky in the Oval Office. And Zelensky beclowned himself. The narratives that Trump was mean and a bully. And again, just pause for a second and understand what you are saying. Trump is a bully for standing up for America. Did he have to get tough on Zelensky? You bet. What's the alternative? What is the alternative to speaking tough to Zelensky? The last 4 years, Joe Biden didn't even know his own name, handed over hundreds of billions of dollars, your tax dollars, by the way. You go to work every day, you're trying to pay your mortgage, you're trying to buy a car, you're trying to feed your family. Groceries are getting more expensive. I'm spending like $8 a carton of eggs now. Joe Biden stole your tax dollars at gunpoint that you worked hard for, that you were entitled to. And instead of even giving it back to America, he shipped it off to Ukraine. Hundreds of thousands of needless deaths, casualties. People are getting conscripted against their will, sent to the front lines. They're dying, and what do we have to show for it? But now Donald Trump's the bad guy for putting an end to that. I have on my X profile page, I just updated this because I'm really tired of this conversation. We played along long enough. It's been 3 years. Nobody knows what's going on in Ukraine. All we know is we've spent a lot of money. A lot of people have died. A lot of people have been just erased from their community. Entire neighborhoods, communities, towns destroyed. And for what? What are you supporting? So on my X profile, I just decided that enough is enough. If you want to support the war in Ukraine, you go sign up. There is a link on my profile for Ukraine's Foreign Legion. Zelensky will gladly take you. He'll give you a stupid uniform, a stupid little gun that might not work. He'll send you to the front lines. You can have bullets flying overhead. You can have Russian drones come track you down, and you will die. But if you believe so strongly in the war effort at this point, then you need to be the one fighting. You do not get to vote You do not get to decide to send me, my children, other kids in this country to go die on a Ukrainian battlefield and enrich the elites, because that's all that's happening here. The MIC got very wealthy. Politicians got very wealthy. Zelensky, I read a report, he has like 15 homes around the world. He's got a residence in Florida, apparently. And you're okay with that. So if you want to support this war effort, you enlist in the Ukraine Foreign Legion, you go fight, you go get killed, and you put your money where your mouth is. You go cash those checks. Other than that, and I got to be honest, folks, just a little tangent here. I have been very firm on the fact that voting needs to be harder. I have said on the show repeatedly that they need to raise the minimum voting age. I'm not going to dicker around ages. I would be fine with 28, 30, 35. I don't really care on the number. It just needs to be older than 18. You need to actually have lived as an adult to vote. I was 18. I didn't know anything at 18. Nobody knows anything at 18. You don't get to vote at that age. So number one, raise the minimum voting age. I am a big proponent of you having a stake in society. So I would always say you need to own property. You need to own a house. You need to own land. You need to own something. Again, you need to have a stake in society. You need to be a net contributor to society. I hate income taxes. I want them abolished. But it's so long as we have a tax system of some sort, you need to pay in more taxes, whatever that looks like, than you receive in benefits, material, like actual money coming back to you. If you receive more money from the federal government than you give in, you don't get to vote. That's just not how this works, because all you're going to do is vote for yourself, more goodies, more handouts, more theft from other people. I don't want to go to work every day so the government can steal my money and then give it to you. Here's an idea. How about you go work? You go start a company like the American Tribune, like I did with a couple of my friends, and you make more money if you want more money. You don't get any more money. But on this last point, too, about raising the voting age, being a net contributor to society, owning property, here's the thing that's really hit home in the last couple of weeks for me. You need to be a parent. If you're going to vote in this country, you need to be a parent. I'm tired of watching these videos, and it's always middle-aged women, or as I say, spiritual middle-aged women. You got these weak men out there that just do whatever the feminists say, whatever women say. So they are spiritually a middle-aged woman as well. Frumpy looking, not taking care of themselves. And these middle-aged women with no kids, unhealthy diet and exercise regimens, they get to vote to send someone else's kid to die in battle? Like, absolutely not. They get to decide, oh, this family's got an 18-year-old son that is mandated to sign up for the Selective Service Act. Maybe he'll get drafted and go fight in a war. Not going to work anymore, folks. They need to change voting so much, but now I'm just going to lay out the cards here. You need to be a parent to vote. You need to have a stake in the future of this country, of decisions that get made right now that will impact your kids today, tomorrow, 10 years, 20 years from now. That's where I'm at. You can call that radical. I don't really care. Attach whatever label you want to it. That is just a fact. Voting has become too ubiquitous, too easy, too widespread. Too many people have zero stake in the outcomes of those elections. How many people voted for Democrat that aren't even aware of what Democrats are doing? I could tell, I'm doing this podcast intentionally to be like, this is what they're doing right now. If you just picked out a random normie in the street, they have their little corporate job, they do their little commute, they got a little home in the suburbs, they send their kids to school, and they're coaching their kids on the weekends in sports. Just people that are not plugged into politics. I promise you this, you could lay it all out. You could say Democrats just supported this transgender nonsense. They said it was okay for grown men to get naked in front of girls in a locker room and then compete with them in the sports. They just voted to start World War III in Ukraine. They voted for 12 million illegals to come into this country. Like, you could say everything Joe Biden did in 4 years, and they'd be like, that's insane. That didn't happen. That's where they're at. They have no idea just how insane Democrats are, the ruling class Democrat Party is. So they have no idea what they're voting for. I'm telling you, this is what you're voting for. Utter insanity and utter evil. Just wild stuff. So I had to go on the voting rant for a second there, because people are voting for things they have no idea. They just don't know what's happening. I'm telling you, if you are voting Democrat, you don't know what's happening. You don't believe me right now. You're like, Todd, this is insane. Of course Democrats don't want men in the girls' locker rooms. False. Every single Democrat voted for that. No, Democrats don't like war. We're the party of peace. False. Democrats are the only ones championing this war in Ukraine. Even Lindsey Graham, warmongering rhino warhawk Lindsey Graham, came out after the Zelensky meeting with Trump and was like, I'm proud of Donald Trump. Zelensky needs to stop. No, he has his own agenda because he wants to get reelected. He doesn't want to get primaried. He likes his little Senate gig. So he is only changing his mind because he's reading the room. He's putting his finger in the political winds. Honestly, I don't care. If politicians are going to do what the voters want, then great. That's all they're there for. I don't care if Lindsey Graham's selling out, he's changing his mind just because he doesn't want to lose the seat. I can live with that because he's making good decisions now. That's all I want from my politicians. Just do what I want you to do. So Lindsey Graham's doing it. But what does that say when Lindsey Graham comes out against the war in Ukraine? This is like Mr. Ukraine himself. So Democrats want people killed. I don't know any other way to say this. Democrats want people killed. They want Ukrainians killed. They want Russians killed. They want the English boys killed because now apparently England's going to put boots on the ground. They want you, your American sons and daughters, killed. And for what? Because Putin's going to take over Europe? Folks, this just in. The Middle Eastern countries have already taken over Europe. Have you seen the demographic change? England is lost. Germany is lost. They've already been conquered. And Putin has made it clear he just wants his land back. But here's another radical idea. Maybe we shouldn't have encroached on Russian space by breaking promise after promise of making this country a NATO ally, of putting this country into NATO, maybe promising Ukraine NATO membership. Maybe Putin didn't like any of that either. Your Democrat politicians kept inching us closer and closer and closer to war. And when Putin was finally like, I don't want to do this anymore, it was kind of like Cuba in the United States in the 1960s. Remember how we didn't want nukes in Cuba? Why can't Vladimir Putin feel the same way about his border? And speaking of borders, why are we so concerned about Ukraine's border? Democrats don't care about our own border. Does this not bother you as a Democrat voter? We're going to send hundreds of billions of dollars to defend Ukraine's border and let ours remain wide open. Drugs come over. The amount of human trafficking would blow your mind. I bet no Democrat voter knows that we lost 300,000 kids under the Biden administration. 300,000 kids. And you use your imagination to figure out what happened to them. Yeah, but I'm the bad guy. I'm the radical one because I voted for Donald Trump to secure the border, close the border, shut down the border, deport all these bad guys, and figure out who's coming into our country. Border encounters are down like 90% since Trump took office compared to what Biden was doing. And that's bad? Like you're going to oppose that? Again, something is wrong with you. All right, I've done a lot of ranting here. We got to get to video clips. I think I'm looking at the clock here, half an hour strong of just me ranting for a second. But folks, I'm fired up because we need to wake up Democrat voters. You, my Democrat voting family member or friend, I love you. I love hanging out with you. Our kids get along great, but you are voting to ruin this country. This is not a both sides bad anymore. I'm flipping a coin. If I vote D or R, it doesn't really matter. No, it's changing now. We've got the America First movement, which has completely revamped the Republican Party. 5 years ago, do you think Lindsey Graham's out there saying we need to draw down war in Ukraine? Do you think Lindsey Graham's supportive of anything Donald Trump does? Lindsey Graham hated Donald Trump his first time around. But again, he's reading political winds. And again, I don't care. You just do what I need you to do, Lindsey Graham. Just don't get in the way of Donald Trump. The America First movement has forever changed the Republican Party. The old Republican Party of John McCain, George Bush, Mitt Romney, Lindsey Graham, Nikki Haley, it's done. It's toast. I don't want to go back to that. And it's not going to because the conservative side, Republicans never represented Americans' conservative values. Traditional Americans always got hosed. They would run on abortion and guns and be like, okay, that's good enough for me. And then they would never do anything to help actual conservative values or push it forward. Democrats need that moment as well. I voted Republican begrudgingly because I could not vote for Democrat, but I knew what I was getting into. It's different now with Donald Trump. The America First movement in charge of the Republican Party, we're actually seeing real change. And I'll list off all the W's from the Trump administration at the end of the show as well. But Democrats need that moment as well because right now, your party supports open borders, supports endless wars, supports getting people killed, supports genocide in the form of abortion. I'm fine with a 12-week ban, 14-week ban. I will settle on something just so we can be done with this conversation. It was good enough that Trump already sent it back to the states. Notice how not one person that's wanted abortion hasn't been able to get one. Like nothing changed. There was all the fear-mongering and hyperventilating about abortion. You can get one if you want. I would love a federal ban at 12 weeks. That's not politically prudent right now, so I am not pushing for that. Notice that Donald Trump's not pushing for that either. For years, all the pro-life movement wanted was Roe overturned, and it happened, and then they're not happy because that's a grifting movement as well, the pro-life movement is. But you're not allowed to murder a baby at 9 months. You support that. You're voting for a party that supports unlimited access to abortions, no matter how developed the baby is, no matter how far along the woman is. And this just in, you never have to decide between the mom and the baby. You can always deliver. Now, my pro-choice side, I'm very pro-choice when it comes to babies. You cannot have sex because if you don't have sex, you're not going to get pregnant. This just in. And if you decide to have unprotected sex with someone that you don't want to be the dad, well, then you can give the baby up for adoption. You can keep the baby. you just can't kill the baby. Is that radical? Like, is that really too radical? You can be pro-choice. You can choose not to engage in sexual activity until you are ready to be a parent. I know. I'm hurting feelings there. You're allowed to have whatever kind of sex you want. Fine, but then there are consequences to that. So choose to abstain, choose to get to adoption, choose to keep it. There are lots of good options out there. You just can't kill your baby. Here we go, folks. I got to touch on immigration as actually. I'm going to go to Joy Behar first. I love the DEI stuff so much. Dems actually don't believe in anything. I'm just going to tell you right now, folks. All this DEI nonsense, nobody believes it, and I got a great Joy Behar clip right here to prove it. All it is anti-white, anti-American, anti-merit. People want stuff for free. They don't want to have to work hard. They don't want to be accountable to anything. If you're Barack Obama, you can't do anything wrong. Oh, it's racism if you criticize Barack Obama. Oh, KJP, she is the worst press secretary we've ever had, but she's a black lesbian, so she is untouchable. Ketanji Brown Jackson on the Supreme Court. Yeah, it's a good thing we got a black woman on the Supreme Court. Has that changed anything? No. But turns out they actually don't believe it, because listen to the criticism from Joy Behar when it comes to Carolyn Levitt.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
All right, so the party that supports DEI, again, you might have missed this because it went by fast. Joy Behar is making the claim that Donald Trump's press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, is a DEI hire, basically. But now this is a problem. It wasn't a problem before, but now DEI is bad. Like, let's go with their premise for a second that Donald Trump chose Carolyn Levitt, a young, beautiful woman, to be press secretary. And she's only there because she's beautiful. She's a 10. Donald Trump just likes 10s. I mean, before the election, Donald Trump was afraid of powerful women. Remember that? He doesn't like strong women in his orbit. Trump's a misogynist. Well, now suddenly Trump picks a 10 for his press secretary. But why is that bad? If you support DEI, and DEI is literally just checking boxes, skin color, sexual identity, who you sleep with, beauty checks a box. So Donald Trump, let's say she is a DEI hire. Why are you mad about that? How can you be opposed to that? You guys love DEI. You love picking unqualified people, promoting them ahead of others that are more qualified. But now it's a bad thing? Like, you understand this doesn't make sense, right? You can't support DEI in promoting people unfairly ahead of others and then get mad at DEI when Donald Trump does it. So do you believe in DEI or not? Now, she is not picked because she's a 10, and I would probably give her a 7. She's not really my thing. But even going along with the premise of her being a 10, what are you mad about? This is what DEI is. Like, they had Karine Jean-Pierre as press secretary for like 3 years. If you want to go after someone for being a DEI hire, she was the lowest hanging fruit we have ever had. KJP was just awful. She was so bad at her job. But now they have Carolyn Levitt, who is also a DEI hire, apparently, according to Jay Behar. And now she has a problem with DEI. Like, get out of here with that. How about this, though? Carolyn Levitt is just really good. She's really good at what she does. I don't care how old she is. I don't care what she looks like. And I made this comment in another video. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody, but Sarah Huckabee Sanders was also press secretary under Donald Trump. You all remember that. She is not a 10 in anybody's world. Doesn't mean she's not good at what she does. Donald Trump is picking people based on what they can do. And I will say this, though. I like that he's picking younger people. J.D. Vance is my age. Carolyn Levitt's 27. There are a lot of young America First people in this new administration that can carry the torch well past the next 4 years. I love what I'm seeing here, so great job picking Carolyn Levitt. But all you have to do is watch a press conference for 5 minutes, and you'll be like, she's pretty good. She's not KJP reading off a binder, reading off of a script, gaslighting and lying to you. Maybe you don't like what she says because it's offensive and too radical for you, but you can't say that she's lying. You can't say that she's bad at her job. She is very well equipped to be a press secretary. But again, I had to play that clip just to throw DEI out the window. You guys have always supported DEI. Why aren't you supporting this DEI then? So that's the case I need to make there. Let us go to, again, we got a clip on some immigrants here. So folks, as long as I've been alive, I hate brown people if I'm opposed to open borders. That's been the entire argument. You don't like brown people. You're a racist. You're a xenophobe. You would be fine with open borders if it was our border with Canada. Also, no, I wouldn't. But that's the case they were making. You were fine with immigration when it was white. Now you don't like the non-white immigration. And this just in, kind of, actually. I mean, to be fair, yes. But more to the point, I don't want open borders because of what it entails. I don't know who's coming into the country. Right now, they get so many federal benefits, it would make your brain hurt. You realize you go to work every day as an American, you work hard, you grind it out, you don't get to spend time with your family members, and then these dudes just waltz across the border. They get invited across the border, dropped into communities. They get paychecks from the federal government, the state government, local governments. Their kids get to go to school for free. They get to go to a hospital for free. They get everything for free. That's not okay. Why are you okay with that? And if you're a Democrat voter, why haven't you personally invited an immigrant into your home yet? If you love open borders so much, put your money where your mouth is. Just like when I talked about going to join the Ukraine Foreign Legion. If you love that war so much, you go fight it now. If you love open borders so much, you invite an illegal into your home. But you've never done that because you know deep down you don't want any part of that. You don't want an illegal into your home. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't want it to disrupt your rhythm. Yeah, that's how I feel about this entire country. So you supported open borders. You let drugs come into the country with your votes. You let children and young girls and women get trafficked, just engaged in some of the worst unthinkable behaviors. But you're a good person. You're not a racist. So open borders are okay. As you allow all of these hundreds of thousands of people to be sexually abused. Your vote did that, by the way, Democrats. Again, I said I was going to be blunt today, not passing any moral judgments necessarily. I'm telling you you're wrong, and I need you to vote differently. You cannot vote Democrat anymore. If you're just tuning in, that's the message of the entire show. Stop voting Democrat, my family members and friends. And my audience out there, my conservative audience, we've got a great following here. You have these people in your lives too, and you're just like, how are you supporting the Democrat Party at this point? So share this content with them. We're being very nice today. We're just dropping some truth bombs on them. We need to change minds, and we need to be blunt about it. If you vote Democrat, you are on the wrong side of everything right now. I am making that case today. And if I see you in person, I will talk about it. I'll be civil. We'll be polite. But I need to change your mind. So here now, the talking point with immigrants is that you can now say, I said this on X, Donald Trump made saying go home immigrants great again, because the new talking point from Dems is that we need to basically deport Elon Musk. He needs to go back to South Africa. He can't be trusted because he's an immigrant. They're actually saying that. I was called a racist 5 seconds ago if I said, I'm not really sure who these 10 million people are, and I don't want them here, and they're not contributing to society. And now suddenly, if you're a Democrat, your talking point is, and I mean this literally, Elon Musk needs to pack his bags and go home because we can't trust him because he's an immigrant. They're saying that. Your party is saying that. And they have no problem saying this, despite what they said yesterday about Donald Trump and immigration. But I got two clips here, two short clips. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Musk has just been here 22 years, and he's a citizen of 3 countries. I always ask myself the question, with the damage he's doing here, when push comes to shove, which country is he loyalty to? South Africa? Canada? Or the United States? And he's only been a citizen, I'll say again, 22 years.
I love the last part there. She thought that she was going to make her point really come home by saying 22 years. 22 years! He's been here, so we can't trust him. That means every single dude that came here in the last 4 years, I am now allowed to question. And I do question their motives. They're not here to be part of the American dream, fulfill the American experiment, like go out there. No, they're here for freebies. They all came for the free stuff. They're just mooching off the system. That's true, but we ignore all of them, ignore the tens of millions of illegals in this country. We should question Elon Musk, who has created how many jobs for Americans, by the way, between Tesla and SpaceX. And I mean, the Boring Company, don't get me started on that. Neuralink, don't get me started on that. X. Elon Musk is creating jobs. He's innovating for this country, making things better. Can you say that about the 10 million, 12 million, 15 million illegals that Joe Biden brought in? I know that they're receiving a lot of my tax dollars. I know that NGOs through USAID monies got a lot of money to resettle these dudes. But sure, Elon Musk is the problem. All right, I got one more clip here. This one's even more insane, if you can believe that.
My question to Elon Musk, and what the hell are you doing here in America? Go back to South Africa.
Folks, you could not parody this anymore. You have a woman with a thick Spanish accent telling an immigrant to go home. If I had to choose between whoever that's an elected congresswoman from New York, because of course it is. You have a thick Spanish accent and you're telling another immigrant to go home. You want to talk about not being here for the right reasons? You don't get to come to America. You fled socialism. You fled corruption. You fled just uselessness in your home country. You were poor. You are given everything in this country. You are wealthy. You are powerful. She's an elected official. She lives in America, the greatest country in the world. And she lacks so much self-awareness. She's going to tell Elon Musk to pack his bags and to go home. You can't make this up. This woman came here yesterday, it sounds like, broken English, thick accent. But yeah, Elon Musk needs to go back to South Africa because he's an immigrant and can't be trusted. Like my Democrat friends, is this sinking in yet? You're listening to these two clips on immigration. We had Joy Behar just basically debunk all of DEI for us. The Zelensky meeting with Donald Trump. Donald Trump actually stood up for America, pushed back on Zelensky's corruption and murderous behavior. He's just getting people killed. I just understand. I got to go back to the Ukraine war. At this point, there will be peace. Every single body that has fallen in Ukraine fell needlessly. None of these people had to die. We're going to get the same peace deal we could have had like a day after the war broke out, because you supported Democrats. And again, you didn't send someone there yourself. I understand that you are a little detached from this, but you voted for this. You supported this. How many blue and yellow flags were in people's bios? I stand with Ukraine, Slava Ukraini. You supported this. You supported all the dead bodies, all the displaced families, all the razed communities, all the bombs, all the drones, all the death. You supported that every step of the way. Like I said, there's a link in my bio on X. You can click on it. You can go sign up for the Ukraine Foreign Legion. Otherwise, no more Ukraine war. I am not radical for wanting peace. I am not radical for wanting to de-escalate this situation. I don't want World War III. I don't even want a localized conflict anymore. If there's no more U.S. money, this conflict is done. This is a good thing. That's why I voted for Donald Trump. He is the most pro-peace president of any of our lifetimes, and you're opposed to that. Just understand. I think I got to recap it again one more time. Just understand, if you oppose Donald Trump, my Democrat voting family members and friends right now, you are saying, I want more war. I don't like peace around the world. I want more open borders. I don't like having a secure border and stemming the flow of drugs and human trafficking. I want men to get naked in front of girls. I want violent criminals to be released on the streets. I saw some figure in New York. 4 dudes or 5 dudes have been arrested a combined 600 times on the New York subway system. Just the subway system. You're saying I would rather have all these dudes get re-released back in society, hurt people, set women on fire in the subway, threaten everyone with death, and thank goodness for Daniel Penny there stepping in and stopping Jordan Neely. Like, you're okay with all these violent criminals going back on the streets. You're fine with all of this. Like, and you're going to lecture me? You're supporting Democrats in their fight against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. You're saying that you like corruption in the federal government. You like wasted tax dollars, laundered tax dollars. Like, have you thought about any of your positions at this point, my Democrat voting family members and friends? And what are you going to say in return? I'll steel man the argument. But yeah, but Donald Trump can't be trusted. Him and Elon Musk, they're billionaires. They're getting richer off this. Okay, number one, that's not true. Number two, if it were true, who cares? I don't care what happens to them. I care what happens to me. If Donald Trump and Elon Musk material benefit from their leadership in the White House, number one, I know that's not happening because Trump's net worth went down $1 billion. And number two, where are you when Pelosi's getting rich, AOC's getting rich? All these Dem politicians have become minted millionaires on salaries less than $200,000 a year. Don't you wonder how that happens? So you can't even play the I don't like the corruption card. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are just in it for themselves. They're all in it for themselves, but you've never said boo about any of these Democrat politicians. Bernie Sanders took the book deal. He used to rail against millionaires, and then because of his corrupt belief system and practices, he became a millionaire. Now it's always the billionaires. They need to pay their fair share. You've never said anything about that, but now Trump and Musk are billionaires and they're leading the world. Like the Democrat Party in November, Mark Cuban, Reid Hoffman, Oprah Winfrey, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, J.B. Pritzker, how many billionaires campaigned on behalf of Kamala Harris? But you have a problem with billionaires in the White House right now? You're lying to yourself. You're getting lied to. You don't believe this. You can't believe this because it's insane. Folks, wake up here just a little bit. All right, I think we played both clips here. We got the immigration piece there. You're going to go along with this, though? Like, and just setting that aside, too, I've done a 2.5-hour episode. This was one of my first podcasts, actually, back in, I think this was in early October when I started the show here. But I did 2.5 hours debunking all the Trump hoaxes. You need to listen to that. If you vote Democrat, you support Democrats, I need to disabuse you of all of your thoughts about Donald Trump. No, he didn't collude with Putin. No, he didn't call them fine people in Charlottesville. No, he didn't say there would be a violent bloodbath in the streets if he lost the election. No, he didn't say he wanted to put Liz Cheney up against the firing squad. No to all the hoaxes about Donald Trump. When I say that your entire thought about Donald Trump is wrong because it's been fabricated, because you were brainwashed, I mean that. I mean that in a literal sense. If not for all the media lies, go listen to it and then ask yourself if they're willing to lie about this hoax, lie about that hoax, lie about all the hoaxes. What else are they willing to lie to you about? You cannot trust the corporate media. And now do you see that the new narrative is taking shape around Elon Musk? They tried it with Donald Trump. Again, go listen to the Debunking the Trump Hoax episode that I did, 2.5 hours. It is mind-opening, to say the least. They're trying that now with Elon Musk because the Trump stuff didn't stick. Like I said, every swing state, popular vote, Donald Trump got it all because a lot of Americans woke up. You need to wake up now to the Elon Musk lies too. I didn't elect Elon Musk, but I voted Donald Trump to put Elon Musk in that position. Yeah, this is not a hard concept. Democrats have appointed people before. Joe Biden appointed John Kerry to be the climate czar. Did anyone vote for John Kerry to ruin the economy and get rid of gas-powered vehicles? Absolutely not. Joe Biden did that. That was in his authority to do that. Okay, where can we go here? Oh, I got more Ukraine stuff. I forgot about this clip here. Here's Zelensky saying that your sons and daughters need to die in Ukraine. He actually said that, folks. Again, if you support the war in Ukraine, you go enlist for the Foreign Legion. I don't want my 2 daughters dying needlessly overseas. I don't need anybody's kids dying needlessly overseas. I don't want to see any Ukrainians or Russians die overseas. Russia is not just some like boogeyman. There are actual Russian kids getting conscripted and sent to the front lines. They are human beings too. They have families too. They have parents. They have kids. They're getting shipped off to die. The Ukrainian people, they're human beings. None of these people deserve to die, but you are voting for that because why exactly? Because Putin's a bad guy? Just understand that there are people dying every single day, just like you and me. They are just in the wrong place geographically, but they are dying needlessly because you're waving some stupid yellow and blue flag. But here's Zelensky saying that it needs to come to America. Your sons and daughters need to die too. And again, if you vote Democrat, you are voting for that.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying.
And he doesn't care. Your sons and daughters will be dying in this glorious war effort. He doesn't care that your family member, your son, your daughter will get killed in a Ukrainian battlefield. Does not care at all. Zelensky's not on the battlefield. He knows he's not in any real threat, at least not on the battlefield. I think Zelensky's really worried that once the money runs out and they hold an election that he will be held accountable, as he should be. Zelensky is a war criminal. He needs to be hung. But he doesn't care if your son or daughter gets killed. Like, can you imagine voting for this? When I said only parents should vote earlier in the show, I meant it. If you don't have any skin in the game, it's just some idea of someone else's kid. You never see their body. You never see the way that they get mangled and destroyed. You never see any of that. You see a picture of them from high school in the newspaper, like, oh, someone else died in the Ukrainian battlefield. Like, it doesn't resonate with you because you have no attachment to them. You don't know them. It's just an idea. There are people dying every single day. Why are you supporting that? I don't care if they're Ukrainian, Russian. I especially care, though, if they're American. Whoever's dying, though, they don't need to die. This war needs to stop. Donald Trump is doing the right thing. You have to support Donald Trump in his effort to stop the war. I see no other way around it. Otherwise, you are a psychopath. You are murdering people. You are murdering people by sending them there. All right, my last clip here. This is completely unrelated. We're jumping around. I got a clip of Charlie Kirk, though. I liked this a lot. So, again, unrelated to everything I'm talking about, but just trying to bring as many different ideas into the show as possible to point out how Democrats are wrong about everything, how you, my Democrat voting family member friend, are wrong about everything right now. I don't mean this in an exaggerated sense. I mean this quite literally. If you tell me any position of the Democrats right now, I will tell you to your face without even knowing. I won't even have to think about it. I will just know it is wrong. It is 180 degrees from truth, morality, fairness. Whatever position Democrats hold today, it is flat out wrong. And so I wanted to bring up this example because people are always saying the wage gap, women get paid less than men, and all of this nonsense. And you know what? We should pay the WNBA players the same amount as the men. I think Wimbledon actually moved to an equity model where the female tennis players make as much as the men. And I'd have to do the math on that. I think the men still bring in more. Women's tennis is kind of an outlier because there's a lot of women that are fun to watch. The soccer team, women's soccer, United States women's national team gets paid the exact same as the men, even though, man, if you break down those World Cup figures, the men's team bring in like billions of dollars in the entire FIFA tournament. Women bring in like $100 million and they get paid the same. The money gets redistributed. And everyone's like, yeah, because they're both playing the same game, they should get paid the same. Never mind the fact that the audience is only there for the men. I am actually supportive of the idea of an entire men's team just going in and just cleaning house on the women's side of that. I think that needs to happen. But here's Charlie Kirk being like, okay, so this is the argument you guys are putting forward. You think equal pay for equal work? Listen to this, though. And I love the end when you can watch all of their, I think they all suffer strokes when they're trying to think about this. Take a watch.
Let's say there was a company that employs OnlyFans models, and then they take a cut and they do all the work for you, okay? Let's say there was a company that...
Oh, no. Rumble Studio does it again. We finally hit a clip that they won't play. I don't think this clip is going to work, folks. Let me see if I can just re-upload it really fast. Again, we are in Rumble Studio. We're live, so you're putting up with us in the spot. I love Rumble. Rumble's been good to us. They write us big checks every month, but sometimes their Rumble Studio is still working out the kinks. But I think we can do this one more time. I just got to find the clip here. And let's see if this works.
Let's say there was a company that employs OnlyFans models, and then they take a cut and they do all the work for you, okay? And they employ male and female OnlyFans models, and they both work 10 hours a day. The female OnlyFans models will earn $1 million a year for the company, and the males will only bring in $100,000 a year for the company. Should they have to pay both of them the same because it's equal work for equal pay? Or should they give more money to who's actually bringing money to the door, the women for the company?
I don't know. I don't have like an opinion on like that kind of stuff. Like,
I think you both know the answer. You're just afraid to say it. That, that like, women should be able to earn what they earn and they provide.
What a great clip. What a great... I have never actually used this argument before, but I will from now on. It's such a stupid proposition to begin with. Yes, you should get paid for the work that you do. I don't know why we're debating this. Women's soccer team was always the best example because they made like 1% of what the men did, but they said, we're both kicking a ball, so we should get paid the same. Never mind the fact that if the men didn't exist, the women would make $0. The WNBA has never turned a profit in its entire, what are we up at? We're almost at 30 years of the WNBA losing money. It's completely subsidized by the men's league, the NBA. But great counterpoint right here. So let's find an industry where women make a majority of the money. Would women be okay splitting that money? Like, absolutely not. And as I often say, this is a great example of that. The Democrats, the communists, the leftists, the progressives, whatever word you want to use for them, they have no principles. I'm telling you right now as a Democrat voter, you don't actually know what your principles are. You have no principles. Certainly the elites running the show have no principles when it comes to the Democrat narratives. Because here you go. It's not about equal pay if you're a women's soccer player. It's about power. It's about stealing. It's about not earning it. Because as soon as you flip the script and you use that same argument against them, they run like cowards. And again, all the girls on the panel, they knew what the correct answer was. They wanted to say out loud, well, yeah, the women earn the money, they should keep it. And that destroys the entire argument feminists have been putting forward for decades. So I love that clip so much. I will be keeping that one in my back pocket. The next time someone tries to talk to you about equal pay for equal work, bring up the OnlyFans stuff. Pretty illuminating. And Charlie Kirk laid, what was that, like a 50-second clip to debunk the entire narrative? And again, like I said, Democrats are literally wrong about everything. If you hear a Democrat speak, you know they are lying to you. If you hear a Democrat say, I believe this, you know that they are wrong. Whatever they believe, it is wrong. It is upside down from truth and morality. You have seen such an inversion of all of this. It is insane. It is absolutely insane what they have gotten you, a regular American, to think. I said I wouldn't be mean here, but the point is, like, the Democrats in charge know that they're lying. I had a good interaction with Michael Malice on X. I think that's the biggest account, or I like Malice a lot here. He actually responded to me on X. I asked the question, do they know they're lying? Are they just wrong? And he told me, and I agree, that they are mendacious. They are lying intentionally and on purpose. I'll use the border as an example. Do you think Joe Biden just made a mistake on the border? You think he didn't know what would happen with a wide open border and financial incentive for illegals to come here? Is he surprised that we got flooded with drugs and human trafficking and violent illegals? Of course not. He knew exactly what he was doing. And then they had the gall to be like, hey, we're going to send Kamala to Central America to figure out the root cause of immigration in America. Or we're going to campaign on the border here. Remember that border wall that Donald Trump promised and it was a lie? Well, we'll get it done. It's like, what the hell? Do you believe this? Democrats had the border wide open on purpose. Everything they say, they know it's a lie. But the distinction is the Democrats on top know they're lying, and really they just don't care. They know it's a game. They're going to win over half this country by appealing to their indecency of just like, you don't have to work hard. You don't have to earn it. We'll just steal someone else's money. They make too much money. They should pay their fair share. We'll just hand it back to you in the form of student loan forgiveness, reparations. We'll just buy votes. will bring all these illegals in and naturalize them and let them vote, and that will be the end of democracy in America. Because do you think 20, 30, 40 million naturalized illegals are going to vote for Republican, or are they going to vote for the party that gave them citizenship and freebies? So that's what that was about. It had nothing to do with their concern or care for illegals. It had everything to do with buying votes, getting more congressional representation when they get counted in the census, which actually happens already, but then just going out and getting real votes. So Democrats are wrong about everything. They're lying to you. But the point, too, going back to that, Democrats in charge know they're lying to you, but you, as my family member, as my friend, as my neighbor, I think you're just wrong. Like, you actually don't believe this if you turn off the TV, you listen to the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. Nothing I'm saying is wrong today. It might be new to you, but it's not wrong. You are getting lied to by the elite class, the political class, the media apparatus. They're lying to you. So you are just wrong. They're lying. They know they're lying. But you've been brainwashed, propagandized, gaslit, lied to so long that you believe those truths. But I think we've made a pretty good case today, coming up on an hour, of you are wrong about all of this. And again, I don't say that to be mean. I don't say it to pass moral judgment on you. I want you in the MAGA tent. I'll just call it the MAGA tent for lack of a better word. It's a big tent. There's room for everybody. I just want this country to be great again. I want it to be left alone. I don't want to have your tax dollars, yours or mine, sent overseas. I don't want them funneled in USAID for these corrupt, nefarious purposes. I don't want wide open borders that bring in drugs and get Americans killed. I don't want assaults on women at the hands of violent illegals. I don't want men in girls' sports. I just want peace around the world. I want a secure border. I want to have a lower tax burden. And if these tariffs pan out, I fully expect to see the IRS get abolished in the next 4 years. These are all good things. Donald Trump is literally making this country great again, to borrow a phrase from him. Don't want to make it a slogan, but good things are happening. And again, I got to make the case here for this. My Democrat voting family members or friends, what are you opposed to right now? Like, honestly, sit down, think about the issues, not the personalities, but think about the issues. What are you actually upset about right now? And if you're honest with yourself, the answer is maybe one thing, and that's that you didn't get the Epstein files yet. I will concede that point. Donald Trump's administration, Pam Bondi specifically, dropped the ball. They lied to us. Pam Bondi's like, I have the folder right here. I'm looking at the Epstein files, and we're just making sure we redact the victim's name so we don't, get their information out there. That was a lie. Pam Bondi lied to us. The folder that she had is information that the public's already hanging on to. Now she's out there this week saying that the truckload just showed up from the FBI office in New York. That remains to be seen. They're not handling the FBI. They're not handling the FBI or Epstein file release very well. The FBI is just running all over them. So that's not a good look. But everything else that Donald Trump has done so far, if you're mad about that, that's because you've been brainwashed, or you just literally support evil at this point. Like, honestly, if you're just going to be like, but Todd, I like what's happening from the Democrat side, I don't know what else to tell you. I guess I'm not changing your mind. But you have to be opposed to, let me see if I can run down the list off the top of my head here one more time before we close out the show. You're saying you're mad at Donald Trump and Elon Musk for exposing corruption, waste, grift, fraud, abuse of U.S. tax dollars, gets funneled into NGOs, gets sent overseas. You would rather that take place. So you're mad at Donald Trump and Elon Musk for showing that that exists, rather than be mad that it does exist. Okay, that's the biggest one so far that we've seen. In 2 months in office, not even 2 months, Donald Trump with Doge has rooted out all this corruption. Make no mistake, it's still there, but he's exposing it. But you're mad at him, and not that the corruption exists and has always existed. So you need to check yourself on that. You're mad at him securing the border. So you were okay with a wide open border, drugs, trafficking, crime. You're okay with all that coming in. And then again, your tax dollars getting redistributed to the illegals that don't deserve it, shouldn't be here. You're mad at Donald Trump for securing the border and deporting violent illegals. Again, check yourself on that. Like, is that really the position you're going to take? You're mad at Donald Trump for delineating the existence of men and women, protecting women's bathrooms, locker rooms, sports, even just protecting and preserving the idea that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. Again, you're going to get mad at that. And I know you've been lied to, because the phrase is always like, you're denying their existence. You want to eliminate transgenders. No, I want to eliminate the idea of transgenderism. I'm not denying they're a human being. I have sat across the table from mentally unwell people before. I'm not saying they don't exist. They're right in front of me, but you're not a woman. You are just you're a really ugly pretend woman right now. You are a man. No amount of makeup or costumes or any of that surgery is going to actually make you a woman. That's my only point. Now, you're in the privacy of your own home. I don't like that either. I don't care what gets you off. I don't care what fetishes you have in your home. but society is not going to play along with this nonsensical lie anymore. It's a harmful lie because then it impacts the kids. And speaking of the kids, you're okay with chemically castrating minors, with performing surgery on minors, getting them hooked on pharmaceutical needs, surgical repair for the rest of their life. They will wake up. You're going to stunt their development, their growth. They'll never experience puberty. They'll never experience orgasm. They'll never experience fulfillment. And they're going to wake up one day and be really upset. And do you know what happens? Pre and post-op, the suicide rate is the same for these people. So maybe it's not their physical, biological, maybe it's not the sex they think they are that's the problem. Maybe it's their mental unwellness that's the problem here. But again, you're going to take the side of that. You're going to oppose Donald Trump and just calling out men and women and the existence of men and women. Everything. Folks, like if you vote Democrat, what's happening? I got to go back to this. Just, am I wrong about anything? Am I wrong about anything? I got Francis here over on Rumble. I got to go to the comments here before we sign off, but Francis says, run for an office on common sense, Todd. Francis, I have every intention of running for an office in Minnesota in 2026. I haven't officially announced anything, but I will be running for office in 2026. Keep an eye on that. I will share more information on the podcast, more information on X. I agree. This is common sense. I am astounded that we are even talking about this. The fact that this show even happened today, 1 full hour calling out Democrats for the absolute insanity that they promulgate right now. I shouldn't have to do this. I honestly, like, if it weren't for Democrats, I guess I wouldn't have job security. Like, my job only exists because common sense needs to prevail, because there's an audience for common sense. Like, in a perfect world, I wouldn't have to do this podcast. The American Tribune wouldn't exist. It would just be stated as fact that, like, these things are real. Yeah, we want peace around the world. Yeah, we want a secure border. Yeah, there's a difference between men and women. Yeah, violent criminals should go to prison. We shouldn't be having this conversation if not for, again, the lying Democrats in charge, and then the brainwashed, deluded, ignorant Democrat voters, the people that are simply wrong when they go to the ballot box every 2 years. And we got Robert over on YouTube. Robert, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting as well. They want a lie detector test because ultimately they're lying to themselves. Their baseline truth is whatever Trump likes. Our baseline truth is God. A great point right there. There wasn't enough time to get into where our principles or foundational beliefs or ethics come from, but absolutely, when it's all rooted in God, boy, things get a lot better. You can watch the decline of our civilization with the decline of Christianity, and I hesitate. Like, there's a real Christianity, and then there's like the churches with the pride flags and the BLM flags. Like, you got a lot of that Christianity out there, but obviously not too. But they would pass a lie detector test. They do believe it. These normie Democrats are like, yeah, I'm a good person. I supported open borders. Immigrants are just people too. No human's illegal. But when push comes to shove, the other point that needs to be reinforced one more time is every single Democrat voter, I'm looking at you, again, my family members and friends, this episode was just for you specifically today. You don't do any of the things you're voting to have done. You're not enlisting for Ukraine's Foreign Legion. You're not enlisting your son or daughter for Ukraine's Foreign Legion. You're not inviting an immigrant into your house and taking them to school, taking them to the doctor's office and paying their medical bills. You're not the ones trying to rehabilitate some murderous rapist that should be in prison but is on the streets because of restorative justice. You're not doing any of this. You're not writing a larger check to the IRS every April. You are trying to pay the bare taxes because you hate that too. Like, it's bad enough. I'm glad I brought this point up. Robert, thanks for your comment there. Kind of sparked this thought, and then I'm going to get out of here, folks. It's bad enough that you vote for this. It's even worse when you consider the fact that you actually don't like any of this. You vote for wars in Ukraine. You vote for open borders. You vote for restorative justice in the criminal system. You vote to kids to gay communists in the school system. And then you don't do any of the stuff that you voted for yourself. You don't enlist in war. You don't invite an immigrant in your house. You don't write a bigger check to the government. You're not sending your kid to a public school in all cases. I have a lot of Minnesota friends that send their kids to private schools in Minnesota, even though they vote for the gay communism in the public school system. They don't act on any of the stuff that they vote for. Robert, thank you so much for making me come to realize that I had to make this. Well, yes, my Democrat voting family members and friends, I'm calling you out on this. You don't act on any of your supposed beliefs. That's how I know you're lying to yourself. That's how I know they're lying to you. You don't want any of this either. So I'm going to posit the question one more time. Why are you voting Democrat at this point? And I would welcome the conversation. I have not really gotten into the defense of the Donald Trump. Why did you support Donald Trump? Don't you know he does X, Y, Z? I'd love to have that conversation. I will disabuse you of every single notion. I can defend everything Donald Trump's doing. You cannot defend anything that Democrats are doing right now. So again, I'm going to leave you with this, my Democrat family members and friends. If you made it an hour into the show, I appreciate you listening, appreciate you watching. Audience out there, Francis, love to see you in the chat today. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube again today. We are a live show, so I love the comments. If I see comments in there, we'll definitely pop them up. We are the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. That's our Rumble channel. But we do have a separate Rumble channel. If you want to see more commentary, I do another podcast on Fridays with my business partner, Jason Robertson. That is Freedom from the Press. That's every 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern on Fridays on the main channel, the American Tribune. I go live here. I advertise 9:30. It kind of changes how I feel. I like the 9:20, 9:25 start because there's a lot of podcasts that go live at 9:30. So I feel like I just get in there first right away and it helps out. But my Democrat voting family members and friends, for Francis's Democrat voting family members and friends, Robert's Democrat voting family members and friends, neighbors, church members, community members, whoever it may be, I would love to see in the comments below just an example of how I am wrong today. I'm feeling pretty good about this episode, folks. I don't think I'm wrong about a single thing. I'm not wrong about a single issue. I want to hear from Democrats. I want them to be like, well, what about this? And then I will reply. I'll be nice in the replies. I'll tell you how you're wrong again. But folks, I can't stress this enough. If you support the Democrat Party right now, you are wrong about literally everything. It is upside down from truth and morality and fairness and actual justice, not like the fake justice where it's like racial justice, climate justice, social justice. Those are all fake justices. I'm talking real justice here, real fairness, real equality. You guys are wrong about every single instance. I didn't have time to play all the video clips to get into all the different angles here, but I think we covered a lot of ground. I think I was able to call out how you are wrong about your beliefs. And again, not in a passing moral judgment sort of way. I'm trying to save this country. I'm trying to save you from yourself right now, folks. I want everyone in the America First tent. That's my utopia. That's my dream world. I want Americans to be reliant on themselves and their skill sets and to develop skill sets, rely on their family, focus on their family, be able to trust the institutions that run this country, to have as few of those institutions as possible. I don't know why this is a hard ask. I don't know why this is controversial. I don't know why we're debating this. Why don't we all want a limited federal government? Why don't we want more freedom for ourselves? Financial freedom, where we're not having our money stolen from us by the IRS at gunpoint. They'll throw you in prison if you don't write a check to the government. Why is this the way we're operating here? And as Donald Trump is pointing out, there are other ways to generate revenue at the federal level. You can implement tariffs. Turns out you can just print money whenever you want. Why are you paying taxes if they can just print the money anyways? So it's an entire scam that they're running here. No, there is no amount of fair share that anybody needs to pay. I owe nobody a dollar that I earn. And again, if you ask the question, what's a fair share? What should the fair share be? They'll never tell you that. They'll never be like, I would be good with 20%, or I think they should pay 50%. They have no number because they don't actually believe it. They just want to use it as a ruse for communism. They just want to steal all of your money. They want you dependent on the state. Folks, don't be dependent on the state. Be dependent on yourself. With that being said, though, this was a lively episode. I had a lot of thoughts, as it turns out, but I appreciate you tuning in today. Francis, thanks for watching and commenting. Robert, thanks for watching over on YouTube. Robert, we got to get you over on Rumble. Head over to Rumble. It's just like YouTube, except you can actually say things. I have had videos taken down from YouTube. I think we're safe today because I'm just speaking facts here. But YouTube has taken some of my podcasts down, especially when it comes to like RFK, vaccines. Oh, I probably said the buzzwords. This video is going to get taken down too. So join us on Rumble, Robert. But I got to give Robert a shout out. He contributed in the super chat last Friday in our podcast. So appreciate coming back, Robert. Appreciate your contribution to that, a little financial support. Every viewer is able to do that if you subscribe. You can subscribe to this Rumble channel, but a lot of our revenue gets generated on the main Rumble channel. Go to the American Tribune if you want to be a subscriber. I drop all these podcasts there as well to watch later. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, both of our American Tribune channels over on Rumble, my X account on our YouTube account. But I'm going to say this one more time. Folks, thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for our comments. And specifically to my family members, my friends, I would love to have this conversation in person with you. Let me know what you think about the show. Let me know why Donald Trump is such a boogeyman and why Elon Musk is such a threat to democracy. And we will be back next Thursday, 9:30-ish a.m. Central, here on Rumble at the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. Have a great day, folks. We'll catch you on Thursday.
Starting on day one, we'll implement a rapid series of bold reforms to restore our nation to full prosperity. We're going to go full prosperity and to build the greatest economy the world has ever seen, just as we had just a short time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Great again. Great again.